in the United Kingdom, Bobby, there will be a judicial review process of the CMA's decision, and it will look at whether the CMA acted illegally or with procedural impropriety or irrationally. My question is, will you and Microsoft extend the deadline on the purchase agreement beyond July so that that process can take place?
So right now what we're focused on is preparing our appeal. And as you know, the tribunal is going to focus on the characteristics of the report that you described. It clearly is an irrational conclusion. And I think we have every expectation, as does Microsoft, that we should prevail in an appeal with the tribunal. We're very fortunate. You saw our first quarter earnings. Our employees continue to be very focused and engaged in delivering great games for our players around the world. We had net bookings up 25%. Our GAAP earnings were up over 70%. And so business is strong. And I think we're going to continue to focus with resolve on the remaining countries that we are securing approvals from. And we think the appeals process will work in our favor.
Bobby, that is the question. I look at the earnings statement across titles and franchises, strong. So if earnings are so strong and the growth story is still there, why does Activision need to be bought by Microsoft?
Well, 98%, I think, of our shareholders approved our transaction. And I think that one of the things you realize is that there are an increasingly larger number of competitors, whether it's Google or Apple or Netflix or Tencent or NetEase or Alibaba or Nintendo or Sony. There's so many companies now that are competing in our industry. And one of the nice things about a combination with us and Microsoft that historically has been an enterprise-focused company is we're hopeful that we'll be able to attract some of the great AI and machine learning talent, data analytics, UI and UX talent. There's an enormous amount of great talent at Microsoft that if we were able to have access to would allow us to grow even better. And the wars for talent have continued to be really, really challenging, especially in areas like AI, where everybody is looking for what is a dearth of talent.
Again, across titles and franchises, there was strength. What caught my eye, Bobby, was King and Candy Crush continuing to grow. How does King fit into the relationship with Microsoft? How do you see that impacting Microsoft's ambitions around mobile gaming? But also, I guess when it comes to King, their ambitions for a mobile gaming store.
So I think that King is actually a great example of the irrational conclusion that the CMA reached. Microsoft isn't in the mobile gaming business, and this gives them, with Candy Crush, a single title that gives them an opportunity to actually participate in the mobile market. And one of the things that you would expect is that since King is actually headquartered in the UK, the UK would be welcoming and supportive and enthusiastic of a business that is based in its own country. But the opportunity that we have with Microsoft is to give them more access to mobile talent, mobile technology, and that's something that they saw as incredibly valuable. And the thing I think that was very misunderstood by the CMA is that they were focused on the console gaming market, which Sony has roughly 80% market share in, rather than where the global market has gone, and that's to mobile gaming. And the bulk of our $160 billion industry is now on phones. And that's been the biggest transformation in our industry, is that we've now democratized access to gaming to people in over 190 countries around the world.
Hey, Bobby, as we look across the 1Q print, what is driving video game sales or bookings in that period? There's a lot of concern about the consumer and the macro picture, but actually Blizzard kind of jumps out. Call of Duty always drives some activity, but give me the bigger picture on why you did so well in a quarter that I guess sometimes post-holiday season, there's not as much spending.
I think our mission of connecting people through joy and fun has never been more important, and more people are playing more games than ever before. And our games are, those three games in particular are games that people are playing and enjoying and getting that joy and satisfaction, that feeling of camaraderie that comes from the social experience of gaming. And I think gaming is just becoming a more accepted, more broad appeal form of entertainment.
You've put a lot of focus on mobile, but I guess at the core of the conversation with Microsoft is cloud gaming. I recently, when Google Stadia was shut down, moved to a console system, right? What I want to ask you is, why do you not issue a broader license as a remedy in markets like the UK to solely cloud-focused gaming companies?
Well, for starters, cloud gaming is an inconsequential part of the business. And having done this for 35 years, it's my view that over the course of the next decade, what you're going to see is phones having greater power, greater capability, better graphics, a faster ability to broadcast to a large screen. And so the idea that you need processing in a cloud and that would somehow be more efficient than the local processing capability that exists on phones or on other dedicated devices like computers, it actually is almost the opposite of the conclusion that CMA reached. Their belief was that somehow cloud gaming was going to be the biggest growth area in the industry. I think what Microsoft offered in remedies already is availability of their content and licenses to almost anybody that had an interest in pursuing cloud gaming. And they made it very clear that they were willing and will continue to offer cloud gaming content to any cloud provider. But the idea that somehow you're protecting all of these big foreign competitors from market competition, it made no sense. And I think that Microsoft really went out on a limb to provide remedies that would ensure that anyone that had an aspiration to participate in cloud gaming would be able to do so.
Bobby, can you give us any visibility on the title strategy going forward? Really interested in service games right now. Overwatch 2, Call of Duty Season 2. How will you push that content slate for the rest of the year, irrespective of what's happening with Microsoft?
Yeah, so our focus will continue to be make sure that we deliver consistent flow of content to our players across all of our key franchises with more frequency and regularity. And so that means new seasons, new monthly content, new weekly content, new annual premium content. And, there's such a desire for people to have new, interesting, compelling, engaging content. The challenge for us is we have to continue to hire people to be able to deliver against the expectations of our players. And that's something that we remain really focused on.